One of the most satisfying things to do in RPGs is one-shotting things with your big boings, and that's something that you can do as well on the Fall of Avalon, Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, with this big sword that we have right here. There's a couple of requirements that we need to meet before we can actually start gathering this stuff. First and foremost, you're going to need to be somewhat high level, so my advice is always explore a little bit before you actually start fighting the things that we need to fight to gather the items that we are going to be requiring to have right in here. It's going to be, let's say, just 3 items on itself: the weapon, a ring, which is just utility that I find to increase the damage that much, a little bit more, and also armor. That said, the first item that we are going to need is going to be the weapon. The weapon is going to be with a bounty target that you will find right in here in this location. I've already killed everything that you can find in here, and the weapon that you see me using right here, this is the weapon that you're going to get as a reward by killing that character, which is going to be the Giant's Sword. This is not only going to deal tremendous amounts of damage, like huge, and I mean huge amounts of damage, where you're going to be one-shotting everything, but you're also going to restore 60 points of stamina whenever you deal a killing blow. It doesn't have to be a charge attack, it just has to be a killing blow, and this weapon actually consumes a whole bunch of stamina, but since you're going to be one-shotting everything, then more often than not, you can go back and forth from an enemy to enemy and kill them and regain the stamina back because of how much damage you deal with this. The second thing that you are going to need is the armor, the chest and the helmet, which is the last man gear that we have right here. This is going to increase your melee damage by 3%. I'm using the the rest of everything, it's the knight armor set, which increases your maximum stamina, and this is true for the rest of everything when it comes to the armor. But this right here, you're going to get it by going into this portion of the map right in here, into the Blood Lake. In the Blood Lake, there's a cave below the lake. If you go down there and you kill the NPC that will be guarding a door right in here, that's how you're going to get the armor. Now, this is a little optional. You don't actually need this, and if you're going to get this, then you should probably come here properly prepared if you're going to attempt this. The ring that I'm using, the perfect ring for a warrior, this is going to help you throughout the entire rendition of your playthrough, because extra 5 physical damage is actually kind of nice. However, it's somewhat tricky to get it, because you have to come all the way to this location right in here. You're going to find an NPC, which is going to be Bromhar, no face. That's the guy that you need to fight. You do have to be very careful, because this guy deals lots of damage, and he also has a huge, and I mean a huge, health pool. He has more health than the regular ogres that you can find on the game. And one more thing that you need to have in mind before fighting that guy, if you feel that you're struggling, it's because you cannot parry that guy. You cannot block his attacks. His axe, which is actually the one that I have right in here, it reads: the attacks against targets at full health are always critical, but also ignores enemy blocks. Meaning that you cannot block his attacks. You cannot parry his attacks. You have to be dodging always. Alright, so now that we're properly established, let's actually talk about requirements that you need to meet before you actually start making this character. You need 8 strength at least for the weapon, but you're also going to need 5 endurance for the armor, and then 5 endurance for the armor. So ideally, before you actually start gathering everything, you should be at least let's say level 10 or level 11, so that you can meet the strength requirement, which is going to be right in here, and then the endurance requirement, which is going to be just right in here. This is the base of everything. Now, that said, my advice is that you spend a little bit more points into endurance, just because of the health if you want to be a little bit more tankier, it's very, very, very useful. Not only that, it's also going to give you stamina regeneration, which to some extent is also very useful, and this is also going to increase your encumbrance limit, which is very useful, very, very useful in this game, because you're going to be looting quite a lot and you want to have as much carrying capacity as possible. Endurance is going to take care of that. So you will see right in here that now we have 180 endurance right in here, weight capacity, I'm sorry. Now for the skill trees, this is actually very, very straightforward. You're going to go into the two-handed, we're going to increase our damage into two-handed. This is the first thing that you're going to do, and then we're going to go into general, because general is going to have melee damage increased by 25%. We actually want to have that, and then we're going to focus on utility things and damage things for our two-handed right in here. So reduce the cost of the stamina attacks by 2 weapons by 15%, very useful. And then the enduring strikes, this is going to be your character's sustainability, because this is what's going to be healing you, but because of the damage that you're going to be dealing, you're also going to be healing like a maniac because of the huge damage and the percentage-based lifesteal that you have right in here. And then we want to have the bonus damage from the two-handed heavy attacks, very, very useful. And then finally, the most useful skill to have early game is going to be the mighty blows. Remember that we're not going to be parrying that much with this type of build, so the two-handed weapons hits deplete 15% of the maximum stamina, the target stamina. So ideally, in general, we are going to be killing everything one shot, so you would either have to be making the concession of the Giant's Grace, which increase your attack speed on each consecutive attack. But then again, remember that more often than not, we want to be doing charge attacks. If you find something that has a huge health pool, you want to be focusing on diminishing the stamina without having to parry that much. So this is ideal, at least that's my preference. And that's basically as simple as that. It's a very, very simple to build character, and it can carry you throughout the entirety of the game. There's just one final recommendation that I have for you if you're going to be taking this character throughout the rest of the game, and that is the fact that the weapon tiers are weird on Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon. So essentially, weapons have a tier region base. Whenever you enter into a new region, your previous region weapons are going to be somewhat useless. Not useless, they're still going to deal damage, they're still going to be amazing, and that they are going to suffice until you manage to get something from the next region, because the next region has like a hidden tier. There's no color to distinguish them. It's just that some of them are going to deal more damage on the next region of the game. So my example, for example, I have the giant sword right in here, which is going to deal 199 to 213 damage. So let me give you a quick example about that. This is a second region weapon. It's a Poison Knight Greatsword, increased critical chance by 5%. This is something that you're going to get on the second region of the game. This is the same weapon that we're using for this build, and it's upgraded. It's a +6 weapon, and it still deals less damage than this one that you have right in here. So that's just a final recommendation that I want to give you. Do not carry this throughout the entirety of the game. This is an early game build. Yes, it is going to one-shot everything in the first region. If you feel that it's underperforming on the second region, it's because you need to get something that it's going to be more powerful, because natively it's from that region. If you like the content, so like and never super appreciate it. And also you today, you're a gorgeous, beautiful person. You're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel, you're in Discord. Have a beautiful day, goodbye.